Welcome, this is part 2 of number lines. There is a previous video where I demonstrate how to use a number line and the reasons we use the number line. Today I'm going to show you how students have begun to use a number line to jump by larger quantities. Instead of jumping by 1 each time, I'm going to show you how students can actually jump by larger chunks now that we know how to break up numbers into groups of tens and ones and other combinations. So let me show you. Here we have an equation, 40 plus 15 plus 12. When we're adding, it's always an efficient idea to start with the largest number, here being 40. And what students have been doing is adding 15 single jumps to count to get our total, but we have been discussing how we can actually use a faster method. So if I have 40 and I'm going to be adding 15, I know that's the same as adding 10 and 5. Then once I've added my 15, I'm going to need to add my 12, which is the same as adding 10 and 2 to get our final number. So let's figure this out. I know that 40 plus 10 is 50 because 4 plus 1 is 5 in the tens place, and there's a 0 in the ones place. 50 plus 5 equals 55. 55 plus 10 is 65. 65 plus 2 equals 67. So my final answer is 67. Now there is some flexibility in how you break up these numbers. Depending on what the number is, you might be able to break it up into several groups of 10, possibly even a group of 20 or 30, depending. It's really about the child's comfortability with breaking up those numbers and what they choose to do. Let's look at an example of subtraction. So here's a subtraction problem, 34 minus 10 more. So I'm going to start my number line, and as we've discussed in the previous video, when you're subtracting, you start with your first number, and instead of putting it on the left-hand side and getting bigger, we're starting on the right and getting smaller to find our answer since we're taking away. Now, this problem is a little more simple than the last one. We're taking away 10 and then another group of 10. So instead of taking away 10 ones and then another set of 10 ones, we can make it easier on ourselves. Subtract a group of 10 and then subtract a second group of 10 so that we can get our final answer. Well, let's try it out. 34 minus 10 is 24. 24 minus 10 equals 14. So I have used a strategy that I can use some mental math with, but I can also show my work so that my teacher or someone else would be able to see what was my thinking and to come up with my final answer.